Kenya's Gold.
Happy midweek viewers, and very many thanks for joining us this Wednesday right here at Kenya's Gold. Now, before we even get into unpacking what we do have in store for you today, Terer, I think it's only fair that we do wish our Muslim brothers and sisters a happy Eid Mubarak on this special day, right?
Imekuwa ni mwezi mtukufu moja mkubwa sana na najua kwamba wale ndugu zetu Waislamu wamehitimisha sasa, wamefungua kabisa rasmi baada ya kushuhudia kwenda kote na kufunga saumu.
Right, may Allah receive all your du'as today. Now today is a special day to find all your Muslim friends because they do know how to throw a fist. What you have to do, unaendapo kwa phone book yako una type letter A. Abdi, Amina, Abdul Kadir, Abdullahi, Abdul. Lakini imagine baka saya kuna mwenye invite me, I think wameni cut off na wajaniambia ama mimi ni fake friend.
Jana nimeingia kwenye Ankara, wanaita phone book Ankara. Sasa nikatafuta kidogo
yeah. It's okay. Ankara.
So nikatafuta jamaa moja anaitwa Ayub Abdikadir. Sasa shiki simu lakini najua
wasitunyime biriani, wasisahau Jesus is also going to be born sometime in the year and they will be looking for us. Now we do wish all our Muslim brothers a happy Eid Mubarak. Now we are very excited that you choose to be with us in this, our right here at Kenya's Gold, a show that focuses on teaching you about all matters agriculture, the technology and innovation that is happening in that sector. And here's the catch. We also teach you on how you can make the switch from just doing agriculture to now doing agribusiness, which is where the money or the moolah or the cash is at. Thank you so very much for joining us from wherever it is that you are watching us from. As is a norm, every single day we do have a brilliant show lined up for you. My name is Violet Angina.
Jina langu ni Emmanuel Terera. Asante sana kwa kukubali kujiunga nasi. Kwa Waislamu najua wanakwenda kumwafua mnofu, lakini bado makofi kwa mkulima kwa sababu kile wanakula bado inatoka kwa mkono kwa mkulima. Bila shaka karibu sana. Tunakuandalia mengi kweli kweli. Muhimu zaidi ni kuamini kwamba baadaye utakwenda kutekeleza baada ya kusoma, maana hapa ni darasani. Jana tumezungumzia sana masuala mengi kuhusiana na makadamia. Na nilifurahia sana yule bingwa anajiita CK alipoeleza kwa undani kwamba kuna safari unaanza mahali lakini unakwenda soko la kimataifa. Yeye aliposema kitu kimoja kwamba Meketi hasa katika meza ya wafalme kule WMO anashuhudia mengi sana na natarajia kwamba siku zinazokuja kuna matumaini. Ulipokwenda kusoma kwenye kiwambo chako ukasema kwamba mwaka unaokuja mwaka 2027 63,000 ya tani zinatarajiwa kuonekana taifa la Kenya.
So we do have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
My absolute aha moment yesterday was when our expert talked about the fact that it will be very important for us to develop a binary system where we do have a market for both nut in shell and also the canola as is in South Africa and Australia. However, now that puts more responsibilities to our farmers because we need to make sure that we upscale our production. Now, every single Tuesday, we will keep furthering that conversation on macadamia farming, so please do book a date with us again next week. Now, moving to the agenda of the day, Wednesday as is the norm, we do focus on animal farming and we will be continuing with our journey series of goat farming in Kenya. This time though, we won't be talking about goats kept for milk, we will be talking about, goats kept for meat, we will be talking about dairy goats. Now, more often than not, we know goats are for meat, but there is a steadfast demand for milk from goats, and that is already creating an opportunity for our farmers. So today we want to start softly, just a soft kickoff, a very polite one to understand what are the breeds that work best for dairy goats and also what does the management look like. You get to find out about that and a lot more in our gold feature coming right up. Take a look.
Emmanuel Terera, je, unafahamu kwamba mbuzi ndiye mnyama wa kwanza anayeaminika kufugwa na mwanadamu? Na vile vile mbuzi huyo anaaminika kuwa na maziwa matamu kweli kweli. Leo tutazungumzia masuala ya mbuzi ambaye anatupatia maziwa. Kumbuka kuna Saanen, kuna Toggenburg na vile vile Alpine. Lakini kubwa zaidi tutazama sana na kwa undani kuhusiana na mbuzi aina ya Alpine, ambaye naye kazi yake kubwa ni kuhakikisha kwamba chai yako inaboresha kweli kweli. Twende kazi ili upate kufahamu kuhusiana na mbuzi huyu, safari yake na namna ya kumtunza akiwa na mimba, atakapozaa, na vile vile anakumbwa na magonjwa yapi. Usikwende popote. Yes, naomba sana. Hii ndo unaelewa pia hata miaka haijalishi, sio?
Hapana, haijalishi.
Naomba sana unipatie jina lako kisha unambie historia yako katika ukulima wa mbuzi.
Asante sana. Kwa jina naitwa Mbogwa, but I'm more popularly known as Coach Mbogwa. The reason I'm called coach is not because I'm a good soccer player. No. It is life coaching. So I do personal development coaching. I'm a social economic by training, but I grew up in a farm setup. Farming comes naturally to me. It's not something that I had to bahatisha. Yeah, nilijipata hapo nikiwa mtoi, nimekuwa ng'ombe, kuku, mbuzi, kila kitu, mimea, kila kitu napanda. So as I grew up, it was part of me. But then later on, as life would have it, of course, education comes in, went to campus, nini, went to employment. But as time goes by, you find that some of these things, they are in quotes like hobbies. You find it's something that you love doing. So I ended up doing the same, but instead of having the cows and the chicken, I decided to have goats. And the reason I I'm keeping goats is because when I compare, the size of the land where I am right now is small, and cows require a lot of feed. I realized that that budget would be too huge with the facility that I had. So I opted to go for the goat farming. Why this particular breed? This breed is known as Alpine. And Alpine, if you know a little bit of geography, there are some mountains in France known as the Alpines. That's where they originated from. So, but coming to Kenya, they were actually bred for the Kenyan climate, because the climate here is slightly different. It's not as cold as that mountainous area. So they're actually adapted to our climate. But the thing is, our climate being tropical is warmer. But they can survive depending on your structure. You can actually keep them there, but you may not be able to graze them in the grasslands if it's too cold. So you'll find also, because of population growth and all that, when you look at the way we are living, like this is now peri-urban, we don't have much land anymore. There's so many, the construction has, and the population has grown, so the farms have become smaller. So when you look at this structure, I can actually fit 10 or so goats in this small structure here. And so when you look at space and look at the economic value, you find then the goats are more profitable to keep. So this particular one's talking about the Alpines. You might ask me, so why Alpines? Alpines are some of the most popular breeds in the country. I chose this because it has double value. You can sell it for meat, of course, when its time has passed, not at its productive stage. I sell it for milk. So I'm both a farmer who is looking at milk as an income, and also a breeder, because I actually sell, because as they give birth, of course they'll become too many. I can't just keep keeping them under this roof, so I do sell. So for that purpose, I actually have a bag specifically for that. This is not it is not one of them, because you have to prevent inbreeding. You don't let them breed amongst themselves, otherwise you're going to compromise on your quality. So this has come from elsewhere, and it's different from this family, this particular family. I started off with 2 goats, 2 does. Those are female, and once they gave birth, they have multiplied over time. I think about 20 goats over a period of 5 years. This business is about 5 years old, and the reason again why I'm talking about the back is because you need to keep that quality up of your breeds. So inbreeding will compromise on your quality, reduce the value of your milk, because then the quantity is reduced. The other thing, Alpine actually is like the Fresian cow. It gives more milk comparatively. And if you're looking at sustainability, yes, if I'm going to do a liter at 200 shillings, right now I have 3 of them that I'm milking, an average of about 3 liters. So I have 600 shillings per day as an income. they will not consume 600 shillings. If I was to do quick math, they'll probably consume about 100, all of them in a day. So I have my 500 shillings. Now, they are more productive when they give birth. So if we were to start at that stage, you start with the doe, that's a female. The best time to breed it is when it's about a year old. 12 months down the road, it is strong and steady. The gestation period is 150 days or 5 months. Depending on the lineage, most of the times you may get twins. Now, you're going to have those twins, or rather the kids now, suckling for a period of 2 months minimum, after which then you can wean them off. Once you wean them off, you'll go for about a month. That month, by the 4th month, the goat will go on heat. And when it goes on heat, now you can get the back and you'll fertilize. When it comes to feeding, for you to get better production or maximum production, your protein should be high. So there are different kinds of sources of protein. We have the napier grass, and of this napier grass is not just the kawaida, but now we've also improved in that area. Like now we have one we call pakchong from Thailand, or super napier. And then we have also bracharia. They have very high protein content, about 13%, as they say. And then we also have commercial feeds. You can have dairy meal, the normal dairy meal that you give to a cow. You can also have soy and wheat. The rest of the stuff is hay, like bomber rods is very good. Not just the kawaida grass, but even if that's all you have, then you can supplement. We also give them salt, the blocks, so that they lick at their own pace. So it has its own benefits. There's also the powder one. So once you have incorporated that in the diet, then you know your dough is ready. And you can actually even see this. The skin is usually very smooth and that sort of thing. So it shows it is healthy. At that stage, then now you can look for the back and fertilize it. Generally, let me say, across board, don't compromise on feeding because they'll consume these things throughout the duration.
Patia ndume unafanika baada akiwa na miezi mingapi?
12. That's I said about 1 year is best. But from 8 months, it can show signs. Yeah, you can go on heat at 8 months. And there are commercial supplements that you can get that actually hasten the process of making the dough go on heat. So you could use that too. Personally, I try to do it naturally. And the reason maybe also the reason why I have the back here is because the pheromones, the smells and all that actually activate and cause the does to go on heat when they smell the male. So, and it should be on this side, not with one, because the wind now comes in this particular location from this side, so that it can come towards the does.
Mwanambuzi sasa mtamtunza vipi?
Like this particular one here is about 3 months old now. When it is born, one of the things you need to do on that material day when it's being born is ensure you have sufficient feed for the mother. At that point in time, one of the things we use is molasses. Molasses is good because it gives the animal energy. So you put a little bit of molasses in water and warm water. By the way, they don't like cold water. That's another part of feeding. So you warm the water. The good thing is you can actually use sunlight. Okay. So you warm the water, give the mother so that it can regain the energy. And then you have straw. That is like bomber rods. Like I said, hay. We normally call it hay. Otherwise, you also have lucerne, which is also a very good feed because it is high in protein, but you really need to look at the ratio. If you're to look at hay and as your main fodder and lucerne, the ratio is 1 to 3. So 1 lucerne to 3 bomber rods, if you're looking at that commercially. But if you have feed in your vicinity or around, like now I have maize stalks, I have napier grass, I have normal grass, I have planted the bomber rods also. So I have a mix. If you give them one feed continuously, they get bored. Balanced diet is very important. So a little bit of, like when it's cold, in June, July, our winter, they may not consume water. So what we do once in a while, we'll mix that feed with banana stems because of the water, not because of much benefit. They love banana peels. So the kid now is born, it's taken care of. Day 1, you've made sure the mother has regained strength, and at that point in time, you're waiting for the placenta to drop. So you need to observe it. So what we'll do, like here, I'll put a sack, angunia, and some straw so that it's warm. It needs to be kept warm. Within an hour or so, in fact less, it may stand and start suckling. If you observe it's not suckling, you need to train it. Because if you don't, then the mother will start suffering. The milk will start burning the udder. So you need to make sure that it consumes that. Now that colostrum, that's the first initial milk. It's very good. It has antibodies that the kid needs for immunity purposes so that it's not prone to disease. If it does that for the first 3 days, it's good to go. And then you let it suckle for another, maybe 4 days, but let's give it a week if you need to consume, because it will not be able to finish unless they are twins, maybe, or triplets. If it's one, more often than not, they are not able to finish. So you can help it by milking. And the more you milk, the more it actually produces. So that's the good thing about milking. You'll ensure that now the kid has sufficient milk. So you'll observe it in case of anything. After like 2 days, 3 days, now you'll start seeing the yellow dung. That means the colostrum is now working. It's cleansing the system of that kid. A few days later, now it starts changing color as time goes by. So you'll suckle it for 2 months, at least minimum 2 months, before you can actually decide to wean it. So on the 3rd month, you can wean it off. And then now, as in weaning, meaning you separate it from the mother. Then the mother, we call that stage now from month 3, we call it drying off. So it dries off from now knowing that it's being suckled, although you're milking. Okay, you'll be milking. And then at that point, later on, a few weeks down the road, it will go on heat again. And because of that gestation period that I mentioned, it means it can actually bear you kids twice a year. So the other benefit compared to a cow that goes for 9 months is that you increase your stock in a very short time. So like I said, I started with 2. Within 3 years, I had like 12 of them. They'll do double.
Yeah, kuna vaccination mnafanya?
Not with this kid. At least in those 5 years experience, I've not had. Though I'm not saying that there isn't. They could be there, but I have not had a challenge whereby maybe they're fallen sick or anything. Unless, per chance, maybe it eats something. That's the only source. And why I may not have had that is because there's the biosafety measures that I take. If you observe, the place is actually disinfected. We clean it, make sure it's always dry. We don't have people just walking in and out. So you minimize the number of people who get in there or even close to them. You check the way you feed them. So when you take care of the health, because they like cleanliness, as they say, with the cleanliness, you're talking health. But there are some diseases, of course. Like if you don't milk it properly, it can get mastitis, which means the udder gets infected, and for some reason now will affect your production.
Nieleze anakamuliwa mara ngapi kwa siku na kwa miezi mingapi kabla arudi sasa azae tena?
Because of my time schedule, I do it once, early in the morning. But standard practice is twice. People will come in the morning and in the evening. Somehow, there's also some psychological effect. If they know that's the routine, then they'll produce the milk at that point. And what you need to do is make sure you umekamua kabisa, lakini usivurute paka ukaiumiza. As when you milk it, you press. Wacha hii ya kuvuruta hii because you're bound to injure it as you press. And then make sure now there is no drop by the time you finish. So when you do that, akauke. So when you do that, it gets to know that tomorrow this is required, of course, after some time.
So kwa siku wewe unapata lita ngapi?
Kwa sasa ni 3 because there is one, let me call it in-calf, ni mjamzito. We can use that terminology. The average a liter each, that's 3. But at peak, I would, immediately after they give birth, they produce almost double or more. And again, dependent on the feeding. So with that, I could get at least 6 liters, double the amount.
Na vile umesema soko
Lita moja ni 200 shillings, so at that time I have that much. The back can do comfortably 5 to 10 because it's not something that happens every day.
akitaka kufanya breeding pekee anafaa akuwe na ndume wangapi na hakikishe kwamba afanye ile kitu umesema inaitwa inbreed?
Normally just need one back, but make sure zenye zimezaliwa they are not going to be the ones producing. The back should be independent of that lineage, so that then you avoid the inbreeding.
Je, kuna wakulima ambao ukuja kwako wakitaka ndume wako awazalishe mbuzi wao?
Yes, wako. Mainly you prefer they bring the doe, not the back goes there, because the back is more comfortable. Iko nyumbani. By the time it gets adapts to that new place, this one has lost heat, which goes for about 3 days. So the timing is very key. So they bring them, we charge about 500 shillings. Akuje, anaweza shinda hapa the whole day. But there are some, those who are experienced, akishaona maybe just it has gone once, and you can actually tell if you're seated there observing. You can take it back, but I prefer you give it some time. Let's say like a day.
Kuna kijana ambaye anakutazama na angependa sana kufuata nyayo zako. Neno lako kwa huyo kijana ni lipi?
I would encourage them because, like I have said, this is lucrative because, like you had, if you are going to have a liter going for 200 shillings, and like I told you, even if I had, like now I told you I have 3 that I'm milking, even if I was selling 2 liters and consuming 1, that is what, 400 shillings. They'll not finish that 400 in a day. So I'll still have extra cash in my pocket. That's the idea. When you're on earth, what you need is money. That is what makes the world go round. If you don't have money, then you're down. Good.
Kwanza namna unanisalimia.
Yes.
Lakini pongezi sana.
Yeah.
Umeeleza kwa upana na tusemeje asante kwa kazi safi unaifanya.
Karibu sana. Na pia nafikiria watatupea kachai. Ukiwaona hivyo pia wanashukuru.
Tutapika, sio?
Yes, tutapika chai ndio tu.
Good stuff.
We can taste what we are saying. It's not just ni kusema na
kutenda.
Yes. Ndio hivyo.
Sawa.
So mambo ndio hilo. Sasa nimekwambia kuna chai.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sawa.
So this is original. Acha hii farm to fork. Sasa hii ni farm to cup.
Okay.
Hii maji imetoka hapa.
Maziwa yako kwa mbuzi.
Ndio hiyo. Karibu sana. Na hii family iko hapo kama unatumia.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Mwanaume ndio huyo.
So ndio hiyo. Na ukiangalia nyuma yako unaona kuna matank pale.
Oh.
It is natural rainwater that we harvest. Yes.
So kwa sababu ya mbuzi na kuhakikisha kwamba mbuzi wako wako na maziwa mazuri.
Kama unalima lazima ukuwe na maji.
Chai tamu sana kutokana na nguvu ya maziwa ya mbuzi. Kwako vile vile kama wewe ni mkulima hauhitajiki kuwa na ng'ombe pekee. Vile vile mbuzi watakusaidia angalau baadaye upate chai yako. Emmanuel Terer, Kenya's Gold.
Naishi soft wapi?
Soft life. Come on.
Utamu una tofauti ya maziwa ya mbuzi ukilinganisha na ng'ombe. Wakati unaonja ama upeleka kwa mdomo, ulimi unatofautisha haraka sana kwamba maziwa yake nzito kidogo ukilinganisha.
Is it tastier?
Yes.
It
Alafu
is.
kidogo wakati unamalizia ni kufahamisha kwamba kwa mtu ambaye hapendi maziwa wanasema si mbaya. Ukinywa nzuri vile vile.
Right.
Hamna tatizo kule.
Agreed. No, it's no, you're the one telling me. So everything you say for me right now is the gospel truth, but we'll have an expert after to tell us a lot more on that. Yeah, a very great introductory feature on dairy goat farming in Kenya. Our farm of the day has focused on the Alpine breeds, but we're also curious to find out what other breeds work best when it comes to dairy goat farming in Kenya. Where do we get these breeds in the first place? How can we meet the growing demand of goat milk in Kenya, and also what is it about this goat milk that makes it absolutely special? That and a lot more will be forming part of our conversation when we come back from this short commercial break that we are taking right now, because we will be joined with an expert who will be shedding a lot more light on goat farming in Kenya. If you do have any question or feedback that you'd like to get through to us, please feel free to talk to us across all our social media platforms. On Instagram at Kenya's Gold, our SMS line is 22422, and our email is kenyasgold@royalmedia.co.ke. See you after this break.
Na mtazamaji, asante sana kwa kukubali kujiunga nasi. Tumeketi kitako taratibu kabisa kuhakikisha kwamba upo nasi hadi tufike tamati. Tunaye Assumpta ambaye yeye ni vet surgeon.
Right. At only 24 years. Yeah. Qualified.
Asante sana kwa kukubali kujiunga nasi siku ya leo. Swali la kwanza kabisa, kumesikiza mkulima akisema kwamba yeye mara nyingi afanye vaccination kwa mbuzi wake. Unadhani kwamba ni makosa ama labda yeye amebahatika na magonjwa katika shamba lake?
Okay. Asante sana kwa the opportunity to be here. Jina langu ni Dr. Wanjiru Njuguna. I'm a vet surgeon by profession. Okay, so swali la kwanza lilikuwa kuhusu vaccination. It's a very big problem. Ni kosa kubwa kabisa kukosa kuvaccinate your animal against certain diseases. Kwa sababu you vaccinate against bacterial and viral diseases. One, viral diseases have no treatment. So ukikosa kumpa yule mnyama chanjo, ata come down with the disease. What will you do? When you get a viral infection, what you do, you treat the signs. Kama nahara, unatibu kuhara. So mbona upitishe mnyama wako through such torture? Well, you had a chance to vaccinate your animal. One, cost of treatment is very high nowadays. Sitakuja ni kucharge around 200 for such a thing. No, I will charge you appropriately because it is your mistake you did for not vaccinating your animal. So it is very advisable to vaccinate your animals because just a small thing can help you prevent a big thing behind.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when we were beginning this conversation, we focused on the fact that more often than not, people associate goat with meat. But there is the demand now for the milk, which is growing day by day.
Yes.
Maybe you can just tell us with your expertise, what is it about the goat milk right now that the world is running towards increasing the demand?
Okay. So one, goat meat is it has a high nutritional content. It is very rich in calcium, phosphorus, and also chlorine. Very rich. And also, it has low cholesterol levels, of which this is very, 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 very good for a human being. The other thing is the cost of milk. If you compare the cost of milk, or 1 liter of milk for a goat and 1 liter of milk for a cow, I purchase 1 liter of milk for a cow at around 60 shillings, 80 shillings ikienda sana. Na kwa the goat milk, ikishuka sana, 1 liter of milk costs 150 shillings, and the other liter of milk at ikienda juu sana ni 200 shillings.
Right.
So if you're comparing of the prices, it is a high profit, it's a high profitable job, and it is also a high production because one, you require low space. Like tuseme kwa ng'ombe mmoja, ile space anahitaji, kwa mbuzi utaweka mbuzi 6. You will put 6 goats in the same piece of land. So one, you'll require a small piece of land, and then you'll maximize your production. And the profits margins are high.
Is there a difference in the butter content between the goat milk and the cow milk?
Yes.
And maybe you can give us a rough estimate of what those percentages look like.
Okay, what those percentages, the butter content percentages of goat milk is higher than the butter fat percentages content of milk, but it also depends on the breed. So for example, with the Alpine goats, they have a higher butter fat content. Also the Sanin goats, they also have a higher percentage of content. And there is also the Toggenburg, which is also a high production and also has a high butter fat content production. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wakati nanywa chai na yule bingwa, kuna swala alisema kwamba kuna watu ambao wapendi maziwa. Sio, lakini akasema kwamba iwapo wewe unahisi kwamba maziwa ya ng'ombe yanakutatiza, si mbaya kutumia maziwa ya mbuzi.
Yes.
Nieleze kidogo kwa mtu ambaye anakutazama na angependa kuhamia sasa kuja kunywa maziwa ya mbuzi.
Like I said, for the goat milk, it has a low fat content. Most of the times, you find that most people evade the cow milk, because of the high fat content. But with the goat milk, it has a low fat content. So getting with that, you'll get that the goat milk it's also a high nutritional content. Iko na ile nutrition ingine mzuri zaidi kuliko ile maziwa ya ng'ombe. Kwa hivyo hata ukimpa mtu maziwa ya goat, atafanya vizuri sana, like the nutrition wise atakuwa very healthy kulingana na as compared to the cow milk.
Right.
Yes.
And right there on the breeds, our farmer of the day has focused on the Alpine, but we want you to take us through the different breeds that we have that do well when it comes to dairy, and also for someone who's starting out from whichever part of the country they are, where do you advise that is the best place to go and get these breeds?
Okay, so there are very different breeds, goats. and each breed has different characteristics. So for example, the Alpine goat, it's a high production, it's a high yield. Wanasemanga it is the Fresian goats, because Fresians are also high production, so Alpines will also high production. They will give you about 2 to 4 liters per day, which is a very good, it's a very good nini. It's a very good content, like it's a very good, the quantity is good. So for there's another breed called the Sanin. The Sanin is also a very good breed. It's always white in color. It's ukiangalia ni ile nyeupe ni nyeupe. So what happens with the Sanin has coat yake, it has low fat content. Like haina ile mafuta sana. So kwa hivyo the Sanin, they will not do well in cold areas. They will do well in an area that iko na joto. In an area that iko na joto. Kuna pia ile Toggenburg. Toggenburg naipenda sana kwa sababu mimi nililelewa na Toggenburg. So when I was around 3 years, 4 years, I was used to Toggenburgs. Alafu nikafika pale around 10 years, 11 years, nikaambia mama mimi ndio nitakuwa na kama. So nikaanza kukama when I was around 12 years. And that is even where my passion for vet ilianza. Right. Okay. So for the Toggenburg is also very good. One, it is hardy in diseases. And also it survives, inaweza survive in drier areas as compared to like these other areas. So wakati ambapo kuna kiangazi, hawa mbuzi watafanya vizuri sana. Because the other thing with Toggenburgs, they produce them, wanajitafutia chakula. So ukipata mahali ambapo kuna, like, they choose their food. You don't have to kuleta chakula. Ukileta chakula, one type of feed, utakuwa unamuumiza yule mnyama na utapata ile maziwa ambayo unapaswa kupata. But the goats, utapata ameenda ameonja majani hapa, ameenda ameonja potato vines pale, ameenda amelamba chumvi pale. So because goats are browsers. Toggenburgs are browsers, all goats are browsers.
Okay.
Yes.
Asante sana, unaeleza kwa undani kabisa, na kuna swala linajitokeza vile vile wakati mimi nafahamu kwamba maziwa yangu yanakwenda chini na nataka kupandisha. Kubwa ambacho kinasababisha hicho ni kipi?
Okay. When one you get like a low production, alikuwa anatoa tuseme kama lita 4, sasa ameanza lita 3, lita 2, so that is a drop in milk yield. A drop in milk yield is an indicator of various things. One, una stress yule mnyama. There's a stress factor. Two, there's an infectious cause, maybe an infectious disease ama a viral disease. Could be, it is there inside. Then the other, there has been a change of diet. A change of diet, alafu the nutrition. So ukifuata hizi mikakati vizuri, utapata ile your preferred yield. So when there's a low milk production, you have to get the pointer. There has to be something that is causing that low milk production. Either cause unaenda unaangalia mnyama. So you can't tell me you're a farmer and you do not know your animals well. You have to know your animals well. Ukiona mnyama na lalalala sana, unajua huyu mbuzi hayuko sawa. So kwa hivyo there has to be something that is causing that. The same thing I said. So for the milk production to go low, there is something you've ever changed your nutrition is not good. Or there is a vaccine that you didn't give, so the animal is coming down with a disease. Or there's an outbreak of a disease, could be infectious, could be viral. So there's a disease, and you have to treat the disease. So here, this is why you call the vet to treat the disease. Ama ni minyoo. Minyoo tuona, like it's a very small thing, lakini minyoo. Hao ni wale terrorists wabaya sana. Right. Very bad terrorists. So it's very good to also deworm your goats regularly. Na kuna ile deworming protocol and the deworming procedure.
All right, so when we speak about deworming, I'd like for you to help us understand, because with the goats for meat, you can deworm often after every 3 months. But we'd like to know what happens when it comes to goat for milk, because you're milking them daily, and sometimes when you deworm, we do have withdrawal symptoms. Yeah. But that is part of what you will be answering when we come back from this short commercial break. So please don't go anywhere. Youth across the country are now being urged to embrace climate-smart agriculture, agribusiness, and modern technology in farm practices as ways to ensure food security in the country in the wake of climate change. It is now emerging that the National Cereals and Produce Board distributed about 100,000 bags of suspected fake fertilizer from SBL Innovate Manufacturers Limited between 2022 and 2024.
Saa 12 imekwisha titiga dakika 40 Afrika Mashariki. Mtazamaji, bado tunasalia katika mdahalo mkubwa sana na inafurahisha kwamba jinsia ya kike wanazama katika kwa madaktari wa mifugo.
All right, absolutely nice to see. Now continue with our conversation on deworming. How do I do it when I am milking my goat on a daily and I still want to make sure I'm not running losses on the days when my goat is going through the withdrawal symptoms from deworming?
Okay, thank you so much. So for the deworming, it's a regular thing you do after every 3 months, but also depends with the age. So when for a kid, at 2.5 months is when you wean, and then from then on you give the dewormer, and then you give a dewormer in 1 month. Duration ya 1 month, alafu unampa another month, unampa dewormer, then hadi afike around 6 months. From 6 months, that's when you do the 3 months dewormer period. So for the regular deworming, so what happens in a farm, uko na wale mbuzi, tuseme kama uko na mbuzi 20 in a farm, utasema hivi, so that your farmers, your clients cannot complain that they miss milk, you'll take some few, deworm them today, and then after the withdrawal period is over, about 2 to 3 days, deworm the next batch, so that uko umepata like the maziwa ya kupelekea the farmers. And these are the lot, deworm them, and then stay for another 2 to 3 days, deworm another lot. By the time you have a regular, constant supply of milk, and then you still have your constant regular deworming procedure.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Wakati mkulima anataka kuendeleza kile tunaita asidi nasaba au DNA ya kuzalisha maziwa, atachagua vipi yule ndume ili asipoteze ile hatua kubwa ya kuendeleza kabisa maziwa kwa mbuzi wake?
Okay, first of all, when selecting kwa kumchagua yule ndume wa kusaya, you have to go to the farm, do a farm visit, select a good and a pure breed. You have to obtain like the progeny of the goats. Like the farmer will have this information. Utauliza maswali kadha wa kadha. Unajua kuna sometimes you just go to the farm, unasema nataka yule juu namuona ni mkubwa, nataka yule azalishe mbuzi wangu, lakini si vivyo. Huyo mkubwa anaweza kuwa na some diseases, maybe he was sick some few days ago. So what you should ask, what was the last medication you gave to this dog, to this breed of a goat? What disease did it come down with, and like for how long has it been sick? How regular does this goat become sick? Because utapata some diseases, they are spread through genetical makeup. Like utapata some diseases are inherited from the sires. So utauliza some questions. You also look at the body physique. Unaangalia yule the male, are the feet okay? Zinatoshana vizuri. So how huyu nini amezalisha mara ngapi, unauliza pia hiyo swali. Na wale amezalisha wamekuwa successful, kuna kuwa na any deaths. Pia kuna zile sexually transmitted diseases. You have to be also constant like with the farmer mwenye anakupatia yule ndume, umuulize, have you vaccinated against some certain diseases? When was like in an area maybe kulikuwa na outbreak, you also look at that. If there was an outbreak of a certain disease, has this farmer vaccinated? So ndivyo like you choose your best sire.
Right. Now, when we talk about milk production,
Yes.
which is why we're in the business, all right, for dairy goats,
Yes.
you mentioned that your Alpine, with its good production, can give about 3 to 4 liters in a day.
Yes.
We'd want to know if that's the peak production from the goat, how long, how many months will you get that level of peak production from your goat?
Okay, so you get a level of peak production for about, in an year, you get, especially when she's from giving birth and when she's about to get pregnant again, that is when you get the highest production levels. So for this, you have to also like, the more you feed your animal, the more it gives you production. Nipe nikupe, nipe nikupe. Mpe huyu mbuzi a good nutritional content na atakupa yale mazao ambayo unataka. Ukihitaji, for the dose, you have to give like a higher nutritional content that contains a higher protein diet. You you also have to give like supplements, zile chumvi. Na one mistake that I find many farmers doing, wanapatia zile, unaenda tu kwa agrovet, unasema, nipe chumvi. Hakuna ya mbuzi, nipe tu ya ng'ombe. That is not right because one, hizi chumvi za ng'ombe ziko na like a lot of copper. They have a lot of copper in it. And goats are very susceptible to copper poisoning. So that is not right. Utapata mtu ameenda kanunua zile, na ni hii chumvi ni ile ya kuongeza maziwa. And then you're like, okay, what happened? I gave this and this and this happened. So it's your fault. Okay, you shouldn't give zile salts ambazo ni za ng'ombe. Kuna vital mbuzi, pea hiyo. If you give the required supplements, your nutrition content is good, you get high milk production.
Okay. Naomba kurejesha nyuma kidogo. Ulipozungumza kuhusu ndume ukasema kwamba kuna siku ambazo atachoka.
Yes.
Sasa yule mkulima atajuaje kwamba ndume wake amechoka, hafai kuzalisha tena?
Kama amezalisha in like ametoka kuzalisha in like less than around 2 weeks, anafaa kupewa a break. Like give your back a break. Then after like 2 to 3 weeks anaweza rudi tena. Even when you take your back to the farmer, hafai kukana wao mbuzi like throughout, haufai kukaisha throughout, because one, there are a lot of reasons for that. One, kukalisha like the male na female, it will also like interact with the taste of the milk. Utapata kuna kale kasent kambuzi kako bado kwa maziwa. So when you're taking your goat to like a sire with the female, inakaa kidogo unatoa, inakaa kidogo unatoa, inakaa kidogo unatoa.
All right.
Okay.
Now, as we get towards winding up this conversation, there's someone who's listening to us and has picked the fact that per day peak production is about 3 to 4 liters.
Yes.
And they're thinking, if I compare with a cow, Frisian being the Alpine version, when it comes to cow, I'm talking 25 liters. And they're struggling to see how, goat farming is lucrative. And maybe they're not even in a position yet to get into the business of cow farming. What can you tell them? How can you position goat farming as a lucrative business for someone who's questioning the amount of liters I'll get in a day?
Okay. There are very many reasons as to why goat farming is very more productive. One, like I said, like the space for one cow, you could put 6 goats in it. Yes, the goat will give you 2 to 4 liters a day, and one cow will give you 25 liters. Let's talk about the feeding. Tumbo ya mbuzi ni ndogo kulingana na the size of the goats, na kulingana na the size of the cow, you have to have a lot of feed. Sahi, commercial dairy mill, you also have to supplement your dough with a commercial dairy mill. So for the commercial dairy mill, yule mbuzi atakula kiasi kidogo na yule ng'ombe atakula kiasi kubwa, because there has to be a constant. You give according to the weight of the goats. So, and you also give according to the weight of the cow. So if you see, you're giving around 4 kgs per kg of the cow to this cow, the commercial dairy mill, and at the same time utapata unapatia kama 2 kgs kwa yule mbuzi. So one, even the feed is ni mingi, ni kidogo, and it is very cheap.
So you can confirm that goat farming is lucrative.
Very lucrative.
Great.
Asante sana kwa kueleza kwa undani kabisa kuhusiana na masuala ya mbuzi, na nakupatia kuvulia koja kwa sababu ya kukubali kuwa jinsia ya kike aliyepambana na kuwa mpambanaji mkubwa sana katika sekta hii. Kwako mtazamaji, vile vile umefuatilia kabisa kwa kina, ukafahamu mengi kutoka kwake, anamiminika maarifa kweli kweli. Nisemeje? Jina langu ni Emmanuel Terera. Salia na Mwenyezi Mungu, kumbuka tutatimiza ndoto.
Well, that's all the time that we did have for you today. Thank you so very much, Assumpta, for making time to be with us today. And good job for being a qualified vet surgeon at only 24 years.
Thank you so much.
Good job. And just so you know, the family of Assumpta, they are farmers, and they came all the way to show her support. Look at them. Yes, that is what we talk about when we're saying support from your family. Thank you so very much for coming as well. Of course, the team for making this show look as good. Thank you, and our audience for choosing to be with us every single day of the week. We say a very big thanks. And as usual, Terrell, you know how we do. Lazima kukue na farm joke of the day. Si hivyo, lakini at least today try.
Okay.
Promise.
Promise,
you'll get it. All right, so my farm question of the day is, what's a potato's least favorite day of the week?
Tuesday.
Assumpta? Tuesday. All right, Assumpta?
Friday.
And the answer is Friday.
Oh, wow.
Terer, surely, wewe nakusalimia kwa nini? High five.
Nisalimie.
Come on, yes. Look, oh, she's bright. That's all the time we did have for you today. We'll see you again tomorrow, where we will be continuing with a conversation on cotton farming in Kenya. You do realize we look this good thanks to a cotton farmer somewhere. Once again, Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Violeta Ngina. Goodbye.